Okay, so here we have the second fundamentals video. You can see I've already given her a brush, was busy detangling. She's at her grazing bucket, which is filled with chaff. In this case, it's shandy chaff mixed with some lucerne chaff. So I'll just play this part through in fast forward. Here I'm just doing the fly spray. As I said, if she chooses to walk away, here's a good example. So here you could see when I went to spray her shoulder, there was a little bit of hesitation. So here I just do classical conditioning. So I offer my hand with the food in, and as she eats, I spray. Good. Lovely. Very good. If she had to walk away, I would just take a step back, give her a moment. When she decided to come back to the bucket, then we would continue with the process. You'll see the same process here as I get to her shoulder. So we feed and spray at the same time, which is just classical conditioning. There's no click involved. And you can just Google classical conditioning for the definitions if you're unfamiliar with the terminology. Okay, so here I've come to the middle. She's at the grazing bucket, and you'll see me do a change of focus shortly. So she's been there for quite a while. I very slowly take a walk over with the intention of seeing if I can get a change of focus from her. Beautiful. She gives me a change, so I click, I go to her and feed, and then I reset. So notice when I reset, I just walk away completely neutral. I'm not asking her or nagging her to come with me. I go and reset, and then I check to see where she's at. And here you can see she decides she wants to join me in the middle to start the training. Oops, sorry, the pivo's gone a little wild again. There we go. Okay, so here you'll see I just cropped the video so that it's a bit closer up, and you'll see us do stand and rest. Beautiful. And this she does really, really beautifully. From the first session, she found the stand and rest relatively easy to do. Lovely. I'm just going to play it in fast forward. Very nice. I'm not specifically clicking when her head is away. As you'll see here, I'll actually wait there for her head to straighten. I wait for this moment here to click and reward, because the head away is still a performative behavior. So I'm not looking for her to perform or do anything like that. For example, I don't want her to put any effort into the stand and rest. It's the opposite to that. I want her to completely relax and not do anything. That is the goal. This is beautiful. So I'm slowly starting to increase the duration. Here you'll see me check her stand and wait. We only just started in the previous session, so we'll see how she's doing it here. Lovely. So I move back. Exactly. So I just want you to see this little dance move I'm doing here. So I move back. I'd like to get to 3 strides there. She starts to turn her head towards me, so she's letting me know she's at threshold. So all I do is I put my feet back together again, and I wait there for her. If she's able to hold it, then I click and reward. But it happens very quickly. It's a very fluent process. So hold. Beautiful. And there she's able to hold it at the bigger distance. That's beautiful. Lovely. Here is a very important moment here. So this is the no food cue from further away. So you can see I take a step back, and you can see she takes a bigger look towards me. So I step forward, I give her my hand to say, do you need some comfort? Do you need some assistance? She touches my hand, I wait for her, and she straightens, and I click. If she had to take a further step towards me, then I would step to her, redirect her feet, and click reward like we saw in the previous video. Beautiful, wait, click, beautiful, very nice. Wait, click. Lovely. Nice. You can see with her, I'm already starting to move at the 45-degree angle because we had started building it at 90 degrees. Now we're starting to move at the 45 because the goal here is to move all the way around her. So I'm slowly making my way back. I want to get to where I can be at her hip. Beautiful. And turning my stomach as though I'm going to walk around behind her. So have a look, there's my body there, turning my stomach, waiting for her, and then she straightens. Beautiful. One more time. Going to stand and rest there. Beautiful. So here I transitioned into a stand and wait, stand and rest to see if I could break the pattern of her bending her head towards me. So watch here, I go stand and wait, change my cue to stand and rest, and that solved the problem. So sometimes it's just a tiny little tweak like that that can just clarify the exercise for the horse. That's why all the fundamentals are important, knowing all of them and being able to mix and match depending on the horse. So this side is lovely, she's super confident. So I'm just going to forward through. Yeah, oh, this is a really good example of the dance move. So see, I go back, she says there, a bit worried, I step towards her, she says, okay, that's all I needed, thank you. Again. Beautiful. So there I just needed to lean my body with my hand. I didn't actually even need to take a step towards her. Stand and wait. Turning my stomach. Amazing. Solid as a rock. That's beautiful. Stand and wait into stand and rest. Just to check. Perfect. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, and we go all the way around. Click reward. Beautiful. So this is just to show you what to do as you come around. What can sometimes happen, now she does a beautiful job here, but what can sometimes happen is the horse will move their feet to meet you. All you do is stop your feet wherever the horse starts to move, go into stand and rest, and wait until their feet come to a stop, and they go into stand and rest, and then click reward. Okay. I did it for her there anyway because it was the first time of me going all the way around her. So now I go the other way, all the way. Oh, there was a good moment. So you see here as she goes, oh, I'm not sure. I pause. I check to see if she's okay. She says, no, it's fine. Keep going. Come all the way into stand and rest. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. She does a stunning job. Okay, so here I'm going to start to do touch. And for this, I threw my whip to the side because I need both hands free and available. So watch the classical conditioning here. And I also want you to see my timing. I don't touch her while she's looking away from me. So I wait for what we call a start signal, which means the horse is cueing me that I can go ahead with the exercise. So you see I go with my hand. There, exactly. So watch here, as I present my hand, she slightly tilts her head towards me. That means I can go ahead with the exercise. Whoop, there's some thunder in the background. So I just want to show you that little movement again, because it's quite important. I do it a few times here. So she looks away. Here you can see I'm ready to go, but then she looks away, so I rest. I present my hand. She looks at me to say go ahead, and I put my hand on the shoulder area and feed at the same time. And you'll see me do this a couple of times just to make sure that she's happy with me. There I pause. There she says I can go ahead. Lovely. Again. There she says straight away I can go ahead. You can see her eyes soften and she slightly angles her head towards me. So now we start with the operant conditioning. So those previous 3 repetitions were classical conditioning, which means I'm just using a stimulus and giving an appetitive at the same time, so feeding and touching at the same time. Now I'm going to touch, and if she stays in stand and rest, I'm going to click and reward, which she does beautifully. Excellent. So this is the cue the crest cue that we use for stand and rest when we are riding. I only condition this cue in when stand and rest is already built in. Beautiful, because sometimes adding touch can create a little bit of stress for the horse. Beautiful. So now I'm just practicing, checking to see if stand and wait is still there. And then I'm going to do the classical conditioning from this side in the same way. There was a good no signal from her, so I watch my cue. I give the cue, I give the body language to say, are you ready? She looks away, so I wait for her. Good. As I present the cue, she looks towards me, and then I go for it. And sometimes that's all they need. They just need to know they can say no and that you will listen and respond. It's not to say that just because she says no, we won't do the exercise. She just needs to know that we are still in a dialogue, in a conversation. Beautiful. So now we go to operant conditioning, hand on the crest, click and reward if she stays in stand and rest, which she does beautifully. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to go around her again. I'm just playing this in double time. So here you're going to see me start to move along her back with a stroke. Beautiful. If she stays in stand and rest, there was a good moment here where she showed she's not quite happy. Then I click, but watch here. As I go to where the saddle would be, we get a little bit of a defensive movement there. I step towards her, I give her my hand. I say, can you find the posture with me touching? And you see I actually move my hand slightly forward back to her crest again. She finds it, so I reward her. Again, I slide back. Again, she says, I'm not so sure. I go back to her crest. Exactly. And there she actually gave me the stop cue sooner when I got to her with her, because she was anticipating me getting to her back. So here you'll see I change my approach, because when I see the quality and the confidence start to go down, that means I need to change what I'm doing, because we're looking for an upward spiral of confidence in the horse. So watch here, I'm no longer making direct contact with her skin. I'm using air pressure that she says yes to. See? So it's not about sticking rigidly to the recipe. It's about using the recipe as an outline and then having a conversation with the horse. And it's also not about not doing something just because the horse says they're uncomfortable. It's about finding within the horse's thresholds, where can they find confidence? Where can they say yes? And watch how she progresses. So I use touch into air pressure. She says she can do that. That's beautiful. And then we go touch to air again. Lovely. When I see there's a bit of lack of confidence, I'll normally do more than one repetition. And there she says she's good. See? That's how easy it is to build confidence with something the horse is not confident with. But if I blast through it, if I push through, then I'm either going to cause her to escalate, to get more defensive or worried, or I will cause a light version or a version of learned helplessness where she realizes, okay, she's going to do whatever she does in spite of my communication. So she'll either suck it up and bear with me, or she will escalate her cues of discomfort, of her worry or her frustration. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I go to touch straight away. You'll see she will give me the same communication on this side as well. There's a little tail swish and a calming signal. Do you see? So there it looked different on this side. The reason for that, which we'll see later on, is of her asymmetry. She bends easier to the left and she carries more weight in her right shoulder. So she's still showing me discomfort signals, but it's different to on the left. So watch this discomfort signals. She rings her tail and she dives her head quite low. So that's a sign of a little bit of frustration, a little bit of stress. And this is a calming signal where she's going, oof, I'm really not comfortable with you in that space. So then I go, okay, I hear you, no problem. I hear you. And even that head turning away from me a little bit is a calming signal. You can also Google calming signals if you want to learn more about them. And there is a really nice book called Calming Signals and Scent Work. I'll get the exact name and I'll send it to you guys. I struggle to pronounce the author's name. I definitely mispronounce it. But you can look up, if you just Google Calming Signals book, there is a book about it. Otherwise, you can just Google the definition if you want to. That was beautiful. If you want to find out more about the calming signals. Beautiful. And there she says she feels confident. Lovely. Absolutely beautiful. Stunning. Good girly. Yeah, there's a little calming signal there again where she did her bend to the left. So I just repeated it again just to make sure. And then from here, you see me make my way further back. Here you see another little signal from her as I go further back. I take my hand to air pressure. She says yes, and I reward. Because now I know the air pressure is okay for her. And there she says she's fine. She's just making sure I'm still listening to her signals. Because if I'm listening, then she feels safe. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Good. You can see, you can be aware of these signals without starting to walk on eggshells around your horse. It's not about being overly sensitive and overly careful and overly worried when you're working. It's just about noticing and then slightly adjusting your recipe according to the horse's signals. So here she comes to check in. I say, hi, can we go back to stand and rest? She says, yes, beautiful. So you just quietly notice the signals, and it's not one signal in isolation. I don't adjust the recipe for every time my horse swishes their tail, because the swish of the tail can mean lots of things. It can mean there's a fly, it can mean mild irritation for something else, and also even if it is to do with the exercise, it's okay if my horse is finding the exercise difficult. I will just see if I can support them better. If it's combined with calming signals, then I generally will try and adjust my my approach, because the calming signals are communication from the horse to say that they are trying to avoid conflict and they are feeling uncomfortable. Lovely. So I look for a combination of signals in the horse's body. Okay, so there was an interesting signal. Here I turned to take her to the bucket. So you can see my intention here was to go, take her to the bucket. She gave me a little calming signal to say, no, 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 no. I don't want to go to the bucket, thank you. So what I do instead is I pick up the pellets out of the sand and we do a little bit of free feeding here at this spot. Lovely. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our asking for space. Here you'll see I initially thought that was a little weight shift back, which is why I clicked and rewarded for it. But as it progresses, you'll see that's a little bit of a, could have been an old trick that she learned, or it's just the foot that she uses to indicate when she is struggling with an exercise. So you'll see that happen a couple of times. There she blocks me with her nose. I wait for her. There she opens the door. So I step towards her, beautiful, to tell her what the answer is. Stunning, absolutely stunning. As I said, this is not her first time with this exercise. This is her second time. Do you see how difficult it is for her to take the weight off that right shoulder? There we go. So you can see quite a long delay compared to the left shoulder. But she did it. She did a beautiful job. So I'm just waiting for her. Here I've switched eyes. So she gives me a little bit of feedback on that. Then I said, okay, let me give you the answer off this eye as well. Good. Ah, beautiful. Excellent step. And she gives me 2 steps there. Beautiful. So that's a nice indication that I can move the goalposts now. So I can say, all right, let's go for 2 strides. If you say that's possible, let's do it. So I say to her, oh, okay, do you want to get the 2 strides off the right eye instead? No problem. So I wasn't sure if she was maybe would prefer me to support that heavy shoulder. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful, exactly. So do you see how I upped the goalpost to 2 strides, and then you could see how she asked me to please put myself in this eye for the 2 strides back, because then I can support this heavy shoulder a little bit. So that was nice communication from her. Yes, there you can see that little bit of, ugh, that's hard. So I hold the question, I wait for her. Beautiful. And I'm rewarding her for redirecting her thought pattern there, that she didn't just practice the leg lift. Give her a moment. See if she can change that thought pattern. You can see her coming to interact with me to say, oof, this is not an easy question when we go for 2 strides. So I say, okay, let me help you off the shoulder. Good. And I will adjust the position to the camera shortly. There's 1, 2. Amazing. And again, 1, 2. Beautiful. So she gave 2 strides easily off of both shoulders. So I'm repositioning closer here. Again, from here, if she had turned and gone to the bucket, I would have gone with her and I would have put food in for her and waited here in the middle. She didn't decide to opt out. She decided to continue. So that's perfect. Just meet her there. Lovely. So now we're going to go for 3 strides, which you'll see that is definitely threshold for her. Good, yeah, exactly. And at 3 strides, you'll see me start to give a little whip cue, because now I don't actually want to close the space between us. I want to start to increase the space. That's where your whip cue can come in handy. So I can start to put my whip where my body was going before. So watch here. When she asks for some help, I lean my weight forward over my toes. I bring my whip up and I do a little side to side, like pendulum swing with it. And then she goes, oh, I understand that. Beautiful. And then I click and reward. Lovely. And then again, we're going to go 1, 2. Good. And I'm going to say to her, yeah, you can do it. Can you go for 3? I give her a little whip cue. Ooh. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. I go to help her and then I feed her back. Exactly. There was a nice little sort of on the edge moment where she was almost going to go to the old behavior, and then I could use dynamic food delivery to help her into the correct answer. 1. Good. I'm clicking her there to go back to the B exercise for a moment. If I see too much frustration behavior, you can see the tail starting to swish a little more. Good. And then I say, okay, can you manage 1 more stride? Can I help you? Yes, exactly. Lovely. Good. Good. Yeah, off the heavy shoulder if you can. Yeah, you can do it. She tries the old behavior. Good. So I'm going to give her a little bit of help to clarify the answer. Yes, and I click her for the next closest right answer she can give me. Good. Good. And you can do it. Good. Good. Almost. And I'm going to use dynamic food delivery to feed her back. That's dynamic food delivery. See? So I wanted to say thank you for the fact that she moved her foot without lifting it in the air. You can see there. But her weight is quite heavily invested in that right shoulder. So I wanted to click her for the try, but it wasn't really the right answer. So I wanted to feed her into the correct answer there. So that's also a good use for dynamic food delivery. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to go closer to the camera again. Good. Yes, she found her balance there, and yay, there's the 3 strides back. And you could see it was easier for her because she went left, right, left, because the 3rd step was now off her lighter shoulder. So you can see here I'm switching over. I'm just talking to her friend that's in the paddock next door. Okay, good, good. Give her some assistance. Click. Beautiful. Again. Good. Good. Waiting for that last step. Yes, there we go. Amazing. She had need a little bit of help with the stick, but that's fine. 1, off the heavy shoulder, 2, and good. A little distracted with the people walking past. I'm just using that little sideways sway with the stick. Good, exactly. And you don't have to get any louder than that. It's just a little movement cue just to make it clearer for her, especially when we're starting to build a bit more distance. Beautiful. Good. Amazing. Off the heavy shoulder. Lovely. So I'm taking her to the bucket to say thank you for that lovely big effort. This time she takes me up on my offer and I go to refill. So here you'll see she's at the bucket. What I'm doing is I'm going into the paddock next door just to give her friend some food on the ground, just to see if I can help him settle a bit, because his separation anxiety was getting a little bit, well, you'll see him now at the end of the video. He comes and walks a little bit up and down the fence here. So here I step into the arena and she comes to join me straight away, which is lovely. So here you're going to see me teaching the haunches in, the hindquarter yield. So actually with her in the next session, I will set up the line of cones and poles, which you will see in the basic yields 1 and 2 video. That line with the cones and poles really helps horses that struggle with falling on the inside shoulder. But I will normally introduce the exercise like this, just to see where the horse is at. So this is my first question, is can you bend? Now notice the cue is the back of my hand towards the base of her neck, and this palm is a target for her to reach towards. There, lovely. I feed her straight to reset. Hand and target at the same time, so cue and target simultaneously. I hold my position, wait for her to come forward and into the bend. There, perfect. She doesn't have to touch her nose on my hand. She only needs to, beautiful, offer the bend. Lovely. So I'm going to start to use what we call a delayed target. So I give the cue, I wait a few seconds, and then I give her the answer. And this is giving her a window of opportunity to respond to the cue without the target. There, perfect, exactly. So the target is just there to teach her what the cue means. There, beautiful. But once she understands the cue, then the target is no longer necessary. Beautiful. And we just use the target, then we can reintroduce it at any point if she forgets the answer, loses confidence, gets worried, or as you'll see when we build into a more difficult exercise, then I reintroduce the hand target again. That was lovely. So we're going to repeat exactly the same thing off the other side. So I'm going to play it in double time. Beautiful. Cue with the target, the hand target. Good. Now she's doing a lovely job here where she's not falling with her feet towards me in the bend. If you've got a horse that tends to move their feet a lot with this exercise, feel free to go back into protected contact. So put a barrier between you and the horse and let the barrier support the horse's shoulder. So that's also a nice way to teach the exercise. Line the horse up next to a fence and teach them to bend over the fence towards you. Beautiful. Alternatively, of course, you can work with just what I did with the horse in the previous video, where I just kept straightening the shoulders every time he fell in. So that is another way that you can work with the exercise. Okay, so here you're going to see the next step. I'm going to ask her to bend towards me, and then can she step under with the hind leg? So notice here, my focus is here on the shoulder, hand to the shoulder. When she bends towards me, I step back on a diagonal, and I direct my eye line behind the girth towards the inside hind leg. When she straightens, I go back to just set her up with the hand target, and then she gives the right answer. See, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for this hind leg to step forward and across. But notice what a difference where she said to me, oh, I really can't do it. And when I just give her the hand target for support, then bam, we've got the answer. That's what we're looking for. Now you'll notice once she understands I'm looking for a turn, she very quickly offers a variation that would be easier for her, which is falling on the inside shoulder rather than stepping under with the hind leg. And that's where I'm going to change my recipe. So you'll see that in a moment. There's the bend. I offer it to her without the target. She says she can't do it. So there we go. Now this was interesting because this quality of the step was less than the previous one, which tells me that it was a bit uncomfortable for her to step under. That's why she reduced the amount that she stepped under on the second stride. So watch here. I invite her around. I walk backwards on a small circle around her. You can see here I'm walking backwards on a curve. The first step, she only steps the front feet. She doesn't do anything with the hind legs. And then I wait for this moment where she steps slightly forward and under, but notice it's not nearly as much across as the first stride she offered. So I just take note of that and say, okay, that was interesting. Let's see if the quality goes down even more. When she steps back, instead of stepping forward and around, then you'll see me use my hand target to cue her forward and around. There we go. Still nice across there, slightly better, but not as good as the first one. So I'm looking to see, is it a physical restriction or is it mentally that she doesn't understand what I'm looking for yet? And my feeling with this was it was a bit of a physical restriction, which then resulted in her mentally going, oh, that feels a bit uncomfortable to do that. So you see I cue her forward and around. This time it doesn't work because now she knows what's going to come after the forward. So that tells me more and more it's not an understanding problem so much, it's that it's physically uncomfortable to do it. Again, doesn't mean we don't do it because it means that it's going to be good for her to do it, but we need to break it down so that builds her confidence to be able to try. So there's the bend. I cue her forward and around, and she blocks on the shoulder, right? So let me play at normal speed. Forward and around, blocks on the shoulder. So I immediately go to cueing forward and straight again. Wait for her there. Cue. Every time she gives a calming signal, looks away, I just drop my arms down to neutral. When she looks back at me again, then I ask. There we go, forward. And you see, the moment I start to turn and she has to step that hind leg under, she goes, oh no, I'm not sure about that. So then I change my recipe. So watch here. She goes, no. So I say, okay, no problem. I hear you. Let's make it even easier. No problem. I hear you. Just step it forward. Click. Perfect. Can you just step it forward and straight? You don't have to cross it. Now, can you just give me the bend? Yes. Click. Beautiful. And can you step it forward and straight again? Good. Exactly. And I click as that right hind leg steps forward, and then I ask for the bend again. Click. Beautiful. Forward and straight. Click. And the bend. Good. Okay, we want to start to make our way back to that original exercise eventually. So you'll see me do a forward and around again. There we go. And there was the step. And that time she didn't brace. Beautiful. So then I just combine forward and around. Let's see if she can do that again. Forward and beautiful. Oh, now you can't see the angle of the leg so much, but we're getting more of the cross and she's not bracing or getting worried. That was lovely. Lovely. Good. Nice. Just the bend. Lovely. Now I want to see if we can get the step from that flank position. So not out of the forward. I want to see, can she offer the forward and step under? Let's see. Yeah, oops. And then she goes, I'm not sure I can do it. So I say, give it your, oh, okay. She says, no, I can't do it. So I say, no problem. I've got a recipe that works. Good. Nice. So I back it up one step to forward and around. And again, I say, it's okay, no problem. Let's go forward and around again when you're ready. Good, good, very nice. And I'm clicking her for that just to build her confidence again. Let's see if she can manage. Yes, she did. And look at that lovely cross. Now we're getting that same deep cross that we got in the first effort. Lovely, super brave, super brave. Yes, and she didn't even hesitate. That was lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Nice. Amazing. Super good. I'm doing it without the target now. And then I give it back if she needs it. Lovely. But look how beautiful. Every stride we're getting the same reach under now. The only difference is whether I use the hand target or not. And that completely depends on her confidence level. So I offer it for her to do it just off the lightest possible cue. And if she says she can't, I give her the hand target back. But there she gets it. And a really nice cross. Look how deep that cross was compared to what we were getting at the beginning. And that was with no hand target in front. I was so proud of her. That was really beautiful. Excellent. Okay, back to the bucket for a break. And then she can come and join me again when she's ready. So I'm just standing here waiting for her. Of course, she doesn't have to come back. She's welcome to go graze. But she was ready for another try. Okay, so I'll play this in double time. It's just teaching the bend. This might be a good teaching moment though. So here where I'm asking for the bend, this was a little bit my mistake though, because, not a little bit, this was completely my mistake, because I skipped a step here. I went straight to just the hand cue without the target, and then you could see she got a little bit worried. So what I needed to do was give her the hand target immediately to condition the cue at her shoulder. So it just shows you just that, there we go. I give her the hand cue this time when she looks at me, there, and there she can do it. It's a tiny little detail like that, and if we allow the horse to talk to us, then we can tweak our aids as we go along. Beautiful, beautiful. And then it just makes the learning process go so much faster. So it benefits the horse, but it benefits us as well. Beautiful. So again, we get this beautiful, really beautiful first step. I mean, you can see how much more bend is even available this way, because now her heavy shoulder's on the outside, her carrying shoulder. But you'll notice that the quality does diminish again a little bit this way after she's felt that step under, and then we break it down for her again. Good, lovely, good step with the hindquarters. Ideally, I prefer if the front legs step, because I don't want them to anchor their feet in the sand and pivot. It's not good for the joints in the leg. I'm still rewarding her though, because she gave me that cross, but ideally I want a step forward with the front legs. Just so that you know, when you're teaching this, it's not ideal if they keep the legs in the sand and pivot. It's just not healthy for the leg joints. Good. There she blocks me. So I say, oh, no problem. Got a recipe for that. Good. So forward into the bend. Yes. So I go to my next layer, forward into the bend. And if I need to, I'll break it down into forward, full stop, bend, full stop. Good. So she says to me, okay, we need to break it down. So I say, no problem. We can do that. So we're going to do just the bend. Oh, forward first. Yeah. So I say, okay, wait. Just wait for me. Come a little forward first. Are you ready? Good. I clicked for that step coming forward, and now we want just the bend. Click. Beautiful. So you can see how I stepped it down until I found a place that she could say yes. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to target it forward again. So say, don't worry, you've got this. Yes, I hear you. Good. Click. As that leg that I want stepping under steps forward, I click, and then we go bend, click. Lovely. Good. I just did a couple of bends there as a B exercise just to build her confidence again, to say, okay, you've got this. Nice. Yes. Good. She's got this. Beautiful. And I went directly to that one because the side is easier for her. But if you wanted 100% success rate, then you can always put the in-between step exactly forward and around, which I'm doing here. Perfect. Exactly. So I can almost switch between A, B, and C exercises now. So the A exercise is the cue without the hand target. And then we've got the cue with the hand target, forward and around. Beautiful. That's exactly what I'm looking for with that hind leg. And then we've got the targeting forward and the bend as the C exercise. So the easiest variation of the exercise. Good. Good. And whoops. Hind leg, not quite. Okay, so we go forward again. No problem. Can you come forward? Yes. And around. Amazing. She did it. Lovely. And then again, can we come forward when you're ready? She goes, oh, this is hard. So I say, okay, I've got you. See what you can do. Give it your best shot. She goes, I'm not so sure. That's okay. See what you can do. There you can see the old behavior coming up. Yes. So I say, oh, careful, careful. Let's just go forward again. Good. So you can see she 100% understands what it is I want her to do. Beautiful. But it stretches into possibly some stiff muscles, possibly some tight fascia. There we go. Beautiful. And she just needs to trust her body there. Lovely. That's what we're looking for. She just needs to trust her body in the movement and also trust that the discomfort is just that. It's not going to escalate more than that. We're not going to ask for more than that. I'm only going to ask her for a try, because every time we try, there's a little asking for space. Every time we try, we're stretching into those muscles. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Good. Whoops. I say whoop, careful, a little bit asking for space, and then forward. The difference that was happening here is when she was going back, she was also pressing her shoulder into my bubble. So when that happens, I just do my little asking for space cue so that she can back up, and then I do the target forward. Good. Good. Yes. And around. Amazing. Lovely. Yes. Good. Again, just the body language cue, waiting for her. There's the hand target if she needs it. Click. Amazing. Beautiful step. Beautiful step. And giving her the opportunity, oops, the pivot, giving her the opportunity to respond to the lightest cue, and she does. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. She got it. There's her friend you can see in the background. It feels like the session's gotten a little long for his liking. Good. There. Amazing. That was soft. That's the jackpot moment. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Good. So I'll take it to the bucket. And we put fly mask on and we finish on that. Okay. So that was quite a nice video to show you working through not just one threshold in a session, but multiple thresholds, because we worked through her touch with the stand and rest. We worked through the asking for space to 3 strides, and then we worked through the little brace in the hind leg. So you could see us build through each threshold, have a break in between, and she's got the capacity for it, which is lovely. And we want to gradually build that capacity where we can have not just one sentence in a lesson where we finish after the threshold, but that we can start to have a conversation with more sentences. But that is completely dependent on the horse, on their nervous system, on their thresholds, on their concentration capacity. So it's not up to me to decide. I just listen to the horse throughout the training session. As long as they're willing to come in and give it another go, we can give it a go, and we have breaks in between. In general, with the sessions, if I'm not in a lesson teaching and explaining, the sessions, as you can see, are usually around about half an hour-ish, a little bit more if we add the grooming time in the beginning, which is not really training so much. It's just the horse can stand and graze while I do the the grooming. However, if we do need to step into training with the grooming, so if we need to start helping the horse with fear around the fly spray bottle, or touch, or picking their legs up to have their feet picked, then that gets contained within the lesson time. So I don't do, say, half an hour of grooming training and then add another half an hour of actual training on top of that, because we can fry the horse's brain at that point. So I hope that that all made sense and gave you guys something to think about. In the follow-up 2 videos, the basic yields 1 and 2, those are 2 videos that I've taken out of my online classroom. So they are part of a bigger training demo that's in my Equisynergy online class. So I've taken the introduction video and the 2 videos. You will hear me referencing other videos. Those videos are in the class in the training demo, because they weren't created specifically for outside the class for students, but they do show recapping the stand and rest, and then how to start with moving together along protected contact, a nice way of bringing in changes of direction, and then building in the basic yields, as you saw, the backup, the hindquarter yield, forehand yield, and then how we start to put that together into a sideways away, which is all explained in those 2 videos. So I hope that all makes sense. I hope that that gives everybody some clarity to play with their horses on their own. Of course, there are an infinite number of variations to these exercises, because every horse is an individual, and every human is an individual, and every environment is different, and every day is different. So if you bump into any unique situations that you can't figure out or can't find the recipe to, then just pop me a message and we will figure it out together. And we can also do some online lessons in between now and when I see you guys again. Alrighty, enjoy, and I'll chat to you all soon. Bye.